All right. You, like me, got the same invitation to come and to experience a meeting. And that meeting is going to be over Teams. It's going to be over Zoom. And your reaction is like everybody's reaction. And here it is.
Welcome to the Sam Linton Show, the podcast designed to help you shift your mindset, find your voice, and change your world. Sam is a pastor, coach, and expert communicator, helping leaders and entrepreneurs like you step into their purpose, speak with confidence, and make a lasting difference. So let's dive in.
All right, we all get those meetings for Zoom and for Teams, and we start to ask ourselves the question, honestly, we go, do I need to go to this meeting? Do I need to be present at the supervisor's meeting? Like, do I have to actually pay attention to this? Or can I just listen to the recording on 3x speed? Our reaction in 2025, that's when I'm recording this, to digital meetings is usually complete apathy. We're completely beside ourselves when it comes to busyness. We have no interest whatsoever in listening to a presentation. And not only that, we both know that when we're going to a digital presentation, there is a high likelihood that it is going to be 10 times more boring than if we were in person. You're like, I don't want to go to the in-person meetings, but now that we're doing a digital one, it's actually worse, right? So what do? How do we come back from this? I will tell you a quick story. I was going to a meeting, a digital meeting. It was going to be like a day-long training. And the participant, or the person that was facilitating, the leader, made it clear to us that they didn't know what they were doing. They were not prepared. They were filling in, and they felt very uncomfortable. So what they did, consequently, is they kept their camera off. They read. I could tell they're reading. There's a cadence that people use when they're reading. That is not, your reading voice is almost never like your speaking voice. It's very, very infrequently similar. Actors maybe can pull it off. You are not George Clooney. So it comes across like you're reading. And on top of that, their audio was bad. So this experience, like, I pretty much checked out right away. I didn't leave the room, but I left the room. You know what I'm saying? I was gonzo. So one of the things that I do with my clients is if they are doing digital presentations or they're speaking digitally, especially if they're executives, because executives constantly have to speak digitally. They constantly have to address a camera. They constantly have to, whether it's over Teams or Zoom, or maybe they're pre-recording something to be blasted out to all of their employees, they have to be doing digital presentations. So what can we do, if you're asking me, to nail our digital presentations? I don't want people checking out. Like, I don't want to have a meeting where I'm speaking and I know that I've lost the majority of the people. So I'm going to give you an acronym that I have developed that is not original. There's a million of these, but I'm going to give you one that you will remember. Because if you remember this acronym, you are going to do better than almost every single person who has ever led a digital meeting since COVID-19. All right? And I know COVID's still out there. I know all that, but I'm just saying, like, remember when we all had to go to COVID? Remember when we all had to go digital because COVID, we weren't allowed to go in the rooms. And I was working at the time for Dale Carnegie, and I remember doing a training that I started in the room. And then when President Trump shut the country down, we had to go digital. And I remember I had not ever done a digital presentation like this because I had done digital presentations, but I was used to being in the room. I'm good in the room. And I found out that you could actually do just as good, if not better, digitally, but you have to abide by some of these principles and this framework. So I'm going to share with you those principles. Choose what you will do because you want to show up better for your people on camera. Okay, so the acronym, it's really original. You ready? The acronym is CAMERA. That's the acronym, CAMERA. So you'll remember, camera, spell camera. Now, camera is one of those words, like I have words, I don't know if you have these words, I have words that no matter what, I don't spell them right. No matter what. Here's a word that no matter what, I don't spell right. Calendar. I think I have been on this planet for 42 years. I have yet to spell calendar correctly without the little red squiggles underneath saying that I'm dumb. I don't know how to spell it. I can't learn. My brain will refuse to learn how to spell calendar. I have no easy way to learn. If you know, just drop me a line at podcast@samuellinton.com, please. I'd love to hear how you know how to spell calendar. But anyway, I digress. All right, so camera. So that's one of those words that might be hard to spell, but you'll get all the pieces here shortly. So first piece of camera is, okay, this is drum roll, is camera. That's the first part. I know, can you have the name of the acronym in the first part of the acronym? You can today. You can today. So if you're going to do a digital meeting, especially if you're an executive, you have to put, I hate saying have to, but you have to put your camera on. You have to put your camera on. You have to. So I was coaching somebody some years back who worked for someone, and I told them that they have to put their camera on. And he said, well, my boss doesn't put the camera on. I'm like, who's your boss? He's like, well, he's the CEO. And I said, well, tell me like why he doesn't put his camera on. And he said, well, he just starts his meeting off. He opens up a slide deck and his camera is black the whole time. He just reads through the slides. And he says he does it because he's so busy. And I told him, do you want to present like that? Or do you want to present like this? Do you want to present better? Because you will be tempted to say, well, nobody in this meeting keeps their camera on. Nobody that I know has their camera on. So why should I have their camera on? Well, you should have your camera on because you're listening to me. And just because other people are doing something, I'm going to channel the inner voice of your mom or your dad. If everybody jumps off a bridge, are you going to jump off a bridge? Turning your camera off because everybody else has their camera off in a presentation is the digital version of jumping off a bridge. You won't get hurt, but it will hurt your professional credibility. So with the camera, a couple things. You want to make sure that you can look at the camera. You want to make sure that you can frame yourself up in the camera. And you also want to be conscious of your lighting. So if I have two like key lights that are on me right now as I'm speaking, and I have lighting in the room. When I speak, I light myself up. Now, if you can't invest in two key lights, my suggestion is get a $20 ring light from Amazon and get a light that will illuminate your face. Now, if you're like, I can't afford a light, Sam. I can't get tech. I'm bad with technology. I don't know how to do this. Okay, I'm going to be sympathetic to you, and I'm also going to give you a trick. If you can't do that, then you need to put your computer in front of a window. Not with the window behind you, because some people are like, oh, I want people to see my background behind me because there's deer that come. I know that might be cool. But if you don't have lighting, that background is going to become uber distracting. So you want to shift and put the computer, the camera in front of, meaning like you're facing out the window, because you can capitalize on the natural light, unless you're facing a brick wall, or just another wall, whatever. You want to capitalize on the natural light that's coming into your face. So use that to help you. Also, just another thing, if you're doing digital presentations, just be mindful of your background. I always say that digital presentations of any kind, 10% of the time is us giving the presentation. 90% is cleaning up our Zoom background so we don't look like a hoarder, right? So like my background right now, it's not the worst, but I'm in an office area, so it's a small little area in our house. I don't have a huge amount of space that I can divvy up, but everything back there is clean. Like there's a couple books on display. I have some decorations. What else do I have back there? I have some family pictures. I have a typewriter. All those things. And I have a huge tumbler with my logo on it. So it's all decorative. And I would recommend that you consider that people are going to be coming into your room. So when your camera is on, you look to see what they see and give yourself a little bit of a clean. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, some people prefer, like there was a trainer that I worked with for years. They had a gray wall. That's all. Just in front of the gray wall. It was fine. It wasn't distracting. So camera on, get some lighting, light your face up, keep the camera on. Okay, second, the A. And this is, I will tell you, and don't come at me about this, but remember, I've been doing this a long time. Audio. Your audio has to be good. I would rather that you don't put your camera on or you throw your webcam out than if you have bad audio. Folks, I'm just going to say this because I love you. And, if you're an executive especially, it is 2025. You have no business having substandard audio. You have no business having bad audio. There's many different ways you can get decent audio. There is, I don't think I have it here. No, I don't. No, I don't. I got rid of it. I used to have, so the thing that I used to do almost all of my training, I don't necessarily recommend this, but I had a physical headset with a microphone attached to it. And people would comment that my audio for the trainings was amazing. And this headset was plastic. It was on Amazon, and I bought it for $15.99. So for years, I had the headset audio. Now, full disclosure, I don't love, because I'm a little bit of an audio person, I don't love the way the audio sounded on that headset. It sounded very radio-y. But it's a radio, so it's like, okay, at least it's clear. And it was dedicated, and it wasn't my computer audio, which would occasionally cut out, or it would, be inconsistent, or you'd hear the camera or the computer beeping or whatever. So I had that audio for years, and then as I started to do more online training, I upgraded my microphone. There are quality microphones. I'm not going to recommend them because there's a million of them. I have a Cadillac right now. So I have a Shure, I don't know what the right terminology is. It's a condenser microphone. It has its own equalizer. So I have a little box here where I can control the volume and the levels and all that. And I put it into a program after. Okay, and that's overkill. If you just had a decent sounding microphone, that would be good enough. And also, when you're doing a digital presentation on Zoom versus a digital presentation over Teams or whatever, you want to make sure that you minimize background noise. You want to minimize your background noise. So you can't stop if you're in your house. The dog's going to bark. The kids are going to get into a fight with each other. The doorbell's going to ring. Like, those things are going to happen. I'm saying minimize them. You want your audio to be clear. Now, why would you might ask, I know you're thinking, why would you invest so much in your audio when you just talked to us about camera and that being important. Like, why is audio more important than your camera? Because if you're doing a digital speaking presentation, there is a high chance that some of your participants are going to be listening and not watching. And it's a lot harder for them just to listen if they hear okay, like that's what a lot, like it shocked me when I first started doing digital training how many people were okay they were okay like that. I'm like, no one ever, it's like going outside and having your fly down. It's like nobody told you that you sound like Charlie Brown's teacher. And you're in the middle of a $20 billion company. Like, no one wants to listen to that. And your credibility, and I know I'm beating a dead horse, but your credibility goes down when you show your audience and you show your employees that you're not willing to invest in sounding decent. Because why would they want to listen to your message if you don't even care how it sounds? Okay, today we're going to go slide number 4. Okay, so audio. You want to keep your audio in check. It's the most important part of any digital presentation. Okay? I hope if we were in church right now, I would say amen, because I'd want you to go, yeah, amen. All right, most important. Okay, next. Move your body and your voice. That's the M. Move your body and your voice. That's move. Move. So when you are on camera, you must use body language. Now, if you can, I would encourage you, if you're doing a digital presentation, to stand. And to do it standing. Because when you stand, your energy increases exponentially. That energy of you standing, it comes up and comes out. But what we'll do on camera is, and you can't see, but I'm leaning forward. I'm sitting there. I'm relaxed, just sitting back here. No, when I'm doing this, I'm leaning forward, I'm using my hands, and you got to be mindful of what your hands look like in video, because in video, you have a smaller window. So if you're doing a big hand gesture thing, you can't go big like out, you have to do big like up, because the camera only picks up so much unless you have a super wide angle lens and you're really going to town on that. But you want to make sure that you are using gestures and you're moving up and down the tone of your voice. You're not reading. If you read, I will reach through the screen and give you a noogie. You know what a noogie is? Like when you do the little noogie? Like I will literally, my knuckles will come through and do, what are you doing with that? Don't read. Okay, you don't want to read. And you want to speak as if you're speaking to a person, not a camera. You want to speak like you're speaking to a person. Like right now I'm speaking to that one person who is sitting there, who has a digital presentation that they have to do. I'm speaking to you, and you have to communicate to your team, and you have to communicate in a way that gives you credibility. That's who my audience is. So you want to make sure that you have movement in your body language. You want to make sure that you have movement in your voice, because if you are monotone, it is going to be 100 times harder to engage your audience. You've been there. You've heard people like, today we're going to talk about the numbers for Q4 and then and before you know it, all you're doing is you're looking on Facebook, you've taken 10 BuzzFeed quizzes, you're looking on Twitter and seeing what's going on there with the president, you're looking over at IMDb and trying to see whether Interstellar was the best Christopher Nolan film or The Dark Knight is. Spoiler alert, it's a tie. I try not to get controversial. I try not to get political, but Interstellar and Dark Knight are like neck and neck for the best movie that Christopher Nolan ever made. So that's you're doing that while you're listening to the presentation. You're not getting anything out of that presentation because that person isn't giving any kind of movement to their voice or to their body language. And the other thing, be mindful of your face. I'll give you this as a bonus. Some of you, and I could fall into this category too, some of you, when you're on camera, you have something, and how do I put this nicely? You have something that I call resting RBF. RBF. You heard of RBF? It stands for resting business face. I know you might have thought I was saying something else. I told you I'm a Christian, okay? But resting business face is when you're typing or when you're scrolling and your face is like, you look mean. You look big, mad. That your face just, it looks like you just ate a jar of pickles and topped it off with a lemon tree. You're just, and then you'll say, "Are you okay?" "Yes, this is my face. This is my face." Well, don't have that face. You want to smile. You want to look at the camera. You want to have an open posture because people are judging you, especially as an executive, if you are wanting to be there. Like right now, if I'm like, this podcast, I'll tell you how to do your camera, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're going to know if I want to be here right now. I want to help you right now. This is good for me, and I want to help you become a better presenter. So this is why I'm here. So you want to make sure that your face lines up with your desire to serve the people that you're speaking to. So you'll move your body and your voice. You want to make sure that your face is not telling a different story than what your message is, right? Okay, next. We got the camera, we got the audio, we got the movement, and then fourth, we have electric energy. Electric energy. If you begin a digital presentation using the same energy that you would do a physical presentation, I want to promise you something. That energy of a physical presentation in the room, it is not going to translate. It's not. You are not going to make the same connection physically as you do digitally. And here's why. Because you need about 30 to 50% more energy when you are speaking digitally than you do when you're speaking in person. Why? Well, because of the stuff we've already mentioned. You are competing with other apps open. You're competing with a scrolling Teams chat from your employees. You're competing with the fact that they didn't want to come to your meeting to begin with. So all of this is against you. The odds are not in your favor. So in order for you to bridge the gap of participation, you have to bring your energy up to where you are so energetic they can't ignore you. So energetic that they can't ignore you. This means that your expressions on your face should be more exaggerated. You want to make sure that you look at how you show up is going to set the tone for how the group shows up. So if you start off with a higher energy, maybe higher than you're comfortable, your group, the employees, the participants on that meeting are going to be just below that bar. They're not going to exceed you as the person leading the meeting. You might think, oh, they're going to be into it. They're not going to be into it. So my suggestion is to pretend that every time that camera goes on, that you get an imaginary jolt of electricity and it hits you. So like I would almost do, like, I wouldn't encourage this because this is like self-flagellation, but you've seen people in movies that are about to psych themselves out and they'll smack themselves in the face, or they'll smack, like, I'm not recommending you do that. That would be weird, and then your face will be red and it would not look good on camera. But you need some sort of a proverbial electric jolt that gets you to engage with your people in a way that isn't just you showing like you're half asleep. Remember, if I'm in person, if you, like, I just did a VIP day with my clients. I had a VIP day with one. I have another VIP day coming up. in a couple weeks, or no, next week actually. And my energy is going to be a lot lower in that VIP meeting than it is now. That doesn't mean it's not going to be high energy. But what I'm saying is, I know I'm speaking digitally right now. I know you're going to be listening to this on a device right now. You're going to be mowing the lawn. None of you are going to be sitting around a radio like the 1950s, looking into a screen, listening to my voice. That's not going to happen. So I'm competing with your kids arguing with you. I'm competing with the drive-through line that forgot your fries. Like, that's what I'm competing with. So my energy has to compensate. And so you do too when you're doing digital leading. You have to have electric energy. You have to speak as if you just got shocked, because it'll be shocking to you how well your presentation goes. All right, only dad joke pun I'm going to do. Okay, I promise. No promises. I can't control it all the time. But anyway, electric energy. Next. 2 more, and then we're going to close this off. You want to make sure you repeat. So, you want to make sure you repeat. Why do I say repeat? Well, again, you're speaking digitally. So, I always recommend, if you're doing a keynote or if you have a meeting, you repeat the key points. Well, that's even more important digitally because, again, distraction. You want to repeat the key points. You want to make sure that you have repetition baked in. So what you'll notice I do when I do my points of the podcast or considerations, I'll say camera on. Camera on. I'll repeat it a couple times. And that to me, auditorially, is that a word? Auditory. It doesn't auditory. Yeah, in an auditory way, in your ear, it sounds like a highlighter. Like when you say, you have to repeat. Let me repeat. You have to repeat. Sometimes I'll say, for the people in the back, you want to make sure you have good audio. Why? Because I want to make sure that if you catch nothing else, you get the main points. And as the leader of that meeting, as the facilitator, it's my job to make sure that I am coming across in a clear way so that you are able to see exactly why it's important that you're listening to me. When you repeat, you are doing your audience a favor by telling them exactly what it was that you said that was important. Now, if you say it's all important, spoiler alert, none of it is. Every word I say is important. Not true. What's important about this podcast? Camera. You get camera. Camera on, audio, move your body, electric energy, repeat, and then the which we'll get to last. But you want to make sure that you emphasize what is most important for them, what's going to benefit them the most. So when they repeat, when you repeat, they will understand, they'll listen. So repeat more when you're doing a digital presentation than you would if you were physical in a room. Last, and most certainly not least. So let's just repeat because I want to practice what I preach because I'm a preacher. Pun kind of intended. All right, we have camera on. Audio has to be good, so you check your audio. Move your body and your voice, that's the M. Energy that's electrified, that would be the E. Repetition, that would be the R. And last and absolutely not least, audience involvement. Audience involvement, that's the A. That's the A in camera. So here's what you can do in a digital presentation that you have trouble doing in a physical one. You have what we would refer to in this day and time, tools in the presentation software that you're using that are designed to engage the audience. So, for example, in Zoom, there's a little button called the reaction button, the react button. And if you click that button, you'll see things like raise hand, you'll see things like, stepping away or whatever. You have the little emojis. Well, in a digital presentation, this is cool. You can have every single person using reactions at different cues in your talk. So I'll tell you how this would work. So let's say opened up this meeting, and this was not a podcast, but this was a meeting where you and I are, or, where you're in this meeting with maybe 10 other people, I would say, okay, using your reaction tools, what face do you make internally when you hear that you have to go to a digital meeting from the boss? It's just us. No one's going to tell the boss you said this. Which face do you make? So usually they'll put the sleepy face, or they'll put the sad face, or some people will get creative and they'll do like a multiple reactions, and they're doing elaborate ways that they're doing it. But what am I doing there? I'm getting them to do something. Now, if I did that in person, that would be a little awkward. What face do you make? And then everybody tries to make a face. That's awkward. This is akin to raise your hand if in person. Now, that's one way to get them to be involved, is you ask them to use those reaction tools. Another way, every digital platform used to do digital presentations or meetings has a chat feature. So here's what I would do if I were digitally leading. I would say, okay, in the chat, I was covering for a colleague the other night, and they had a video course that they're teaching, and they asked me to jump on. I said, I'm your guy. I'm your presentations guy. And I said, you just have to owe me for life because it's going to be awesome. Not really, because this person's amazing. They let me lead their team. They let me lead their digital talk. And so a lot of what I did was, hey, when you think of seeing yourself on camera, put it in the chat. Like, tell me in the chat what goes through your mind. Or what question do you have when you're communicating, when you're trying to make a connection? And I'm asking them to put it in the chat. So I will say this is one of the benefits to having everybody digital, is that you can instruct them to participate. How many people do this in their meetings? I would say not many. I would say huge wasted opportunity. But you don't have to waste it because you're listening to me. So I would make it interactive. Hey, react to this. And every couple minutes of you, blah, 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 blah. Okay, stop. Okay, real quick. As you're hearing about camera, using your reaction tools, what goes through your mind? Now, let me give you a bonus part of how you get maximum audience participation. And if you do this, you're going to look like a presentations ninja. You ready? If somebody puts something in the chat, or somebody puts something on the reaction tools, you now have a way that you can know something about them and ask a follow-up question. Desiree, I see that you put the party hat on when you heard about meetings. Tell me why. Why do you feel like it's a party when your boss throws a digital meeting? And then you're going to have Desiree come off mute. And right now, you already know that she is participating more. This would be a lot more difficult to do in person. I facilitated a breakout room of sorts a couple weeks ago. And I was in person, and it would be hard for me to be able to gauge how I can engage so quickly as I can when I see, okay, she put the party hat. What's the party hat? Okay, boom, 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 couple sentences. Oh, cool. Follow-up question. How does that make you feel? Blah, 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 blah. Awesome. So right off the bat, my meeting with Desiree is now a conversation. It's not just a presentation. I am controlling that environment by checking in with the audience, because the audience is who you should be focused on anyway. You shouldn't be focused just on the material. You should be focusing on making a connection with the audience. So that's camera. And that is just one of the many frameworks that I use with my clients. I'll ask you, as I always do, if you or someone you know is in an elite level of leadership, but you're just not making the connection when it comes to your communication, I can help you with that. And it doesn't take very long. I just had somebody come through a VIP day with me. It was a 4-hour strip of time. I met them at their office, and they went through several frameworks of conversations and meetings that they were leading. And by the end of that 4-hour time, they were not the same communicator as they were when we started. And I do mindset stuff while we're in there. I do audience analysis stuff while we're in there. And it is completely tailored, not to me, but to you. I've never done the same one twice. But every time I've done it, there's been transformation. So if that sounds like something that I could help you with, simply email me at podcast@samuellinton.com. Podcast@samuellinton.com. If you like what you hear about digital presentations, subscribe. Subscribe to the podcast. And if you like it even more, share it with someone that you're like, hey, you run a lot of digital meetings. Here's a guy talking for 35 minutes about digital meetings. Blech! There you go. Please get the word out about this podcast, and thank you for tuning in. But in the meantime, change your mindset, find your voice, change your world. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much.